shows at the London Palladium, all sold out. They had 10, 20 million viewers per night when we had 4 channels. It was ridiculous how huge these guys were and successful. And I honestly do owe my career to them, because if it hadn't been for them and their comedy timing, I would have gone on in a completely different direction. I would not have learned what I learned right now. So, before we introduce the main acts and I ruin it, and Tommy, come on!
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure being here tonight, because I was reminiscing, Bob and I last came to Scotland doing a pantomime, and it was at the Glasgow Empire. And I'll never forget it, because the room, they'd had somebody on and the dressing room was a bit sort of dirty, dirt on the floor, you see. Bob had a black baggy suit on, so he weren't bothered. So I said to Bob, I can't put this evening suit on. I said, it's going to get filthy. He said, well, tell manager, stage master. I said, excuse me, pal, can you get us a bit of carpet to stand on? I said, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. Following day, headlines in the papers, Tommy Cannon demands a carpet. I didn't bloody demand anything. So to come back to Scotland's fantastic. We had a 5-hour drive up here today in beautiful weather. I'll tell you what, the countryside's breathtaking. Really enjoyed the drive coming up here. I'm knackered, but nevertheless. And I will tell you that I don't know lucky in life that I've been, and you know, meeting Bob, you know, when I think back, I never wanted to be in show business. I wanted to be a footballer, cricket player, forget rugby, because I got my bloody shoulder pulled out of joint first time I tried it, so that was the end of that. And you know, as years went on, I had a few jobs before I met Bob, and I go as a welder in this factory, and it was Bowden Trailers. They used to make trailers for articulated trucks. And I go there as a welder. I couldn't weld, which made it a bit difficult. And then I had a relative that he worked there, so he got me the job. And I'm there, and I'm sort of stood by the clock, sort of like this, waiting to be assigned to a job. And first person to speak to me out of 500 guys is Bob. Comes in, all right, cop. So I said, yeah, I'm all right, pal. And he walked away, and as he walked away, I thought, that's a funny little bugger, that. and that was it. That was the meeting, you know. And then a couple of months went by, and suddenly, and don't ask me why, I still don't know to this day. I know I asked you many times, but you never told me, a little bugger. And he came up to me and said, listen, do you fancy making a double act? I said, a what? He said, a double act. I said, what the bloody hell's a double act? He said, me and you together. He said, singing. I said, I can't sing. Oh, and he walked away. So I thought, that's the end of that. A few months went by, he came back again. He said, you sure you don't want to be a double act? I said, no, I don't, Bob, honestly, I don't know anything about it. He said, well, listen, I'm at Royal Oddfellas Working Men's Club, he said, on Friday. Come down with the lads, have a pint. I said, good idea, I'll go down. I went down, he sang, and he was pretty good. And I thought, hey, that's good. Came off stage, had a bit of fun with him. I said, I tell you what, I don't believe you got paid for doing that crap. And he had a bit of a giggle sort of thing, and then time went on again. And he came again. And as he's coming towards me, I said, if you're going to ask me to be a double act, I'm going to knock you out. He came, he said, well, I tell you what, and you don't want, I said, why don't you get a set of drums? I said, well, what are you talking about, a set of drums? I can't play drums. He said, well, I'll teach you a few riffs. He said, I'll get a piano player and we'll be a trio. Okay. Following day I went in, I got a set of drums. I said to him, I've got this set of drums, Bobby. He said, bloody hell, you're keen, aren't you? I said, well, you told me to get a set of drums. The problem was, I got a set of drums and he couldn't play the bloody drums, so he couldn't teach me anything. So there I am with a set of drums, couldn't play the drums, and he gets the piano player. The player joins us, he'd only done a couple of gigs with us, and he suddenly said, I can't do this anymore, lads. He said, I don't like being away from home. So that left me and Bob. That's good. So, pardon? So we, I thought he would eat for a minute. We carried on sort of messing around with it, and we were at the Fitnell pub, and he was singing an hour on the drums, and he was singing one of my favourite songs, which was Autumn Leaves, Frank Sinatra song. And halfway through I joined in. He turned around and he said, what the bloody hell are you doing? I said, I'm sorry, Bob, I'm sorry. I said, it's my favourite song. I didn't, you know. He said, favourite, he knocked the drums away. He said, right, you can sing, you're out front with me. That was the beginning of the double act. But I will tell you that when I was welding one day, I went in with some steel. Is the microphone going on and off? Try this one. Shall I try that one? Well, you can hear me, can't you, without a microphone?
Consummate professional.
Right, is that better?
Yes.
I don't know what the bloody hell we're saying. Oh, I know. So here I am. I'm welding, okay? I've sort of, it's not right, is it, Bess? Hello, come in. Have you got it? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It sounds okay now. Thank you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, it's gone. 1, 2, it's come back. 1, 2. Got it?
Should be it.
Got it? Okay. Oh, it's whistling now.
That should help you.
Is it? 1, 2, 1, 3. What? Drop the bloody boxes. Oh no. Hey, this is good comedy. Are you right now? Are we on now?
Hello.
It's Bobby. It's Bobby. He's trying to do me. Bobby. The little beggar. Is that it? No? 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That it? Yeah? Go with that. So, right. We're welding, right? And I'm up on this big massive frame. And I'm welding about 6 foot up in the air, something like that. And I'm welding away. And you can't see the thing. When you're welding, it's just smoke and the light. And I'm doing it. And as I've done it, I thought to myself, yeah, I'm improving as a welder. That's not bad, that. So I'm now up 6 foot up in the air, and I go to get down. So I go. And I can't get down. He's welded me bloody steel toe cap boot to the frame. And I'm stuck 6 foot up in the air. And I had to pull my foot out of the boot. I left my boot on the bloody frame and I had to climb down. Yeah, but I got hold of him, I'd have bloody killed him. But that was Bob, that was all. And I always knew, you know, the difference between a comedian and a comic. Comedian tells jokes, a comic is a funny person. And he was always funny. But for the first, 12 years of our career, all we did was sing. So one day we went to this working men's club, and I'll never forget, it was a comedian on, and me and Bob. So comedian goes on, comes off. As we get paid, we went to the chairman's office to get paid. Chairman gave me and Bob £6 and gave the comedian 12. So going out, I said to the comedian, how come you got more money than us? I said, there's 2 of us. He said, Tommy, do a bit of comedy, you get more money. Ah, fantastic. Following night, we went into this working men's club, started doing comedy and got bloody paid off. So we thought that was the end of our career as a comedy double act. But time went on, and you know, we did a boiler, I think it was in Sunderland, it was called the Boilermakers. And we went into this club and we went into the dressing room, and the chairman came in. He said, you all right, boys? I said, yeah. He said, you've got a job to do. I said, sorry? He said, you've got a job to do. I said, what do you mean we've got a job to do? I said, I know where I'm singing. He said, no. He said, when you walk out, he said, all the lads will be reading the Sunday newspapers. I said, yeah. He said, your job to make them put them down. So I said, you've got to make them put the newspapers down. she's done it. And I said, okay, not thinking anything of it, we'd walk out there, we'd start singing, they'd all put the newspapers down. They didn't. All the way through the 20 minutes.
Sorry.
All the way through the 20 minutes. It didn't, how can I say? They didn't put the newspapers down. We came off after the 20 minutes and the chairman came, he said, there you boys, there's £3, you're not coming back in the evening because you're crap. Oh, okay. So now we realise there's no back way out of the theatre, of the working men's clubs. We have to walk out through the audience. So we're walking out through the audience thinking, oh, the lads will be right now, they'll give us a cheer as we're going off or whatever. They never even looked at us. They kept the newspapers up to the bloody faces till we got to the end of the room. And as we went, we said, come on, Bob, it's one of them things, let's wave them good night. We went, good night. And there were things that happened to us that we never really thought of ever, if you like, being on television. We did Sheffield Dial House, and they had new curtains this lunchtime, men only, and the curtains kept coming in and out from the side into the middle, and I was singing a song which was we called oh, every night I'm sitting here by my window, and we're walking, shut up, and we're walking backwards and forwards because the curtains start to come in. So as we walked back, the curtains started to come in. So we walked in front of the curtains and we went back again. And that's what we did all the way through the song. After it was... I'll slap your bloody legs. And as we come off stage, Bob said to the guy in the wings, he said, listen mate, he said, there's something wrong with your curtains. He said, there's nothing wrong with the curtains. You're crap. We've been trying to get you off for the past 20 minutes. So you can imagine all those downs and no real ups, if you like. Bob and I thought, we're going to have to go back welding. There's nothing surer than that. And so we pulled up on the A1 into a lay-by. We pinched a few dog ends out of the ashtrays. And sat there and I said, Bob, can't go on like this, mate. We've got families, we've got we need to support, we've got children and stuff. And he said, yeah, he said, you're right. He said, but I tell you what, he said, we've got 3 more working men's clubs left. I said, yeah, he said, if we get paid off at one of them, we go back welding. Needless to say, the reason we did so well, we didn't get paid off, and we kept going. Now, that's okay, but when we got onto TV, the press said, oh, overnight successes. We were 15 years going around working men's clubs and pubs and stuff and all that. And don't get me wrong, enjoying it in a funny sort of way. But I always knew that Bob was going to be this funny lad. And the reason that it was me what said to him, because in the early days he used to come and queue up with people. When I was on stage, he would be like, I was his big fan, you see, so he would come and he would be in the lineup outside with a camera on a piece of string round his neck, saying, hey, my mate's on stage tonight. He's like, oh man, I love him. I'm his #1 fan. But because we weren't known, we got away with it, you see. So I got into Batley Variety Club and I'm on stage. And he's right at the back of the audience and he's going, hey Tommy, I'm here, I want a picture Tommy after, is he alright? And so what I said to Bounce, I said, when he comes down to the stage, because then he crawled onto the stage, I said, you need to come on and sort of pretend to be like he's not part of the act, pushing him off, see? So Bob got on stage and he did it a couple of nights, the Bouncer, and he was great. Third night, he comes on stage and the spotlight hit the Bouncer's face. So now instead of dealing with Bob, he's going. And he's loving the bloody spotlight. And we stood there and said, get him off the bloody stage. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. Now, that's only one incident, okay? We were in Stockton Fiesta Club. There were 12 lads sat at the front of the stage, and one of the stage hands had put a G-clamp into Bobby's bag that he used to carry off when I used to bounce him around and throw him on stage. And this G-clamp, these lads had given us a bit of a hard time. And he goes off stage and he looks at me and he sort of goes like that with a bag, and I thought, what's he doing? I didn't know there was a G-clamp in the bag. So there's a piece of cloth stuck out of the bag as he's walking past these lads. One of the lads took out the cloth and went, way, like that. Bob turned around and hit him with the bag. And his head went, blood everywhere. Oh my God. And there's 12 of them. Come off stage, I said, you bloody idiot. We're going to get beaten up. I said, we've got no chance, there's 12 of them. Luckily, when we came back and went to the bar for a drink, they'd gone. The bouncers had got hold of them and thrown them out, and he said, don't worry, they're well off the place. He said, some of them are in hospital, so don't worry about it. But these are incidents that are true, and I suppose when I think back, I still even today can't believe what we actually achieved. And it was at the Glasgow Empire, again up in Scotland. We were on with a great singer from Scotland, and I can't remember his name, but he was bloody brilliant. And you know, when you hear somebody like that, you say, why has he never come to England? Why has he never? Because he was brilliant, and me and Bob were supporting him. So we go off the wings, and there's a guy stood in the wings, and he, as we passed him, he said, well done, boys. That was it. Oh, okay. And I don't know, a few years passed, and we signed in our first TV contract at London Weekend Television. Right? And we're signing like this, and as we look up the corridor, there's guys coming down towards the office. And Bob and I looked at one and said, what were we saying before? Did we know him? And all of a sudden he came in and he said, and we went, oh my God, it's the guy that was stood in the wings at the Glasgow Empire. And he shook our hands. He said, hello boys. He said, do you remember me? He said, I'm David Bell, head of Light Entertainment, LWC. Now, if things weren't meant to be, I mean, honestly, you know, and it's quite frightening to think that, you know, all that happened. And there's times when I do think back that I remember doing Bob's night in Blackpool. He passed away, and the strangest thing about Bob passing away was that I always tell people this because I never understood it. He passed away, he went into hospital. I remember we were at the Viva nightclub, and he came in for the first time with a mask on. And I said, well, what are you doing, robbing a bank? And his two sons were on the same show with us. And so he said, no, he said, I've been a bit off, Tommy. I said, all right, Cock. I said, no problem. And all of a sudden, through the evening, he said, Tom, where's the toilets? I said, Bob, you know where they are? We've been here 5-6 times. I said, down them steps, turn right, it's on your right. Thanks. He went, came back, hour passed. Tom, where's the toilets? I thought, oh shit, something's not right. See, I told him again, and he went to the toilet, came back. On stage, he wasn't Bob that I knew. He sort of wandered off, if you like, sort of not really knowing where he was, I think. And I went over, and to get him back, I grabbed him by the lapel so that he'd say, Tommy, you've got me skin. He didn't say, Tommy, you've got me skin, but he'd walk him back up. Whatever was going on, I don't know. We go down this underground car park at the end of the show, and he's the strangest I've ever seen him. And we're walking down these stairs, and he's at my side here, walking down. As I get halfway down, and I suddenly turn, and he's not there. He's like 4 or 5 steps behind me. So I go up to him and say, what's up, Nathan? He's sort of... Is it all right? Is it gone? One. I'm all right. I'm on again. So we get down to the bottom of the stairs. I take his guitar. I take the suit bag, and we walk down the stairs. He gets in his car, and I thought, I'm not driving off because I have to make sure he drives his car away and gets home. He got in the car and off he went. I thought, oh, thank God for that. Monday came. And he said to me, Tom, he said, do you remember that test I went for? So I said, what test? He said, he said, I rang you. I said, no, you didn't, Bob. What are you talking about? He said, I said I went for a test for COVID, he said, and I was positive. I said, bloody hell, Bob. I said, I can't believe you've done that. Why? He said, Tom, I said, Bob, don't argue, mate. The main problem is you've got COVID and you'll get over it. Come the Monday, he's in hospital. And typical Bob, bless him, he FaceTimes me with 5 nurses round his bed and sat up. I said, you little son, I said, I thought you were poorly. He said, well, he said, I'm not the best. He said, but Tom, main thing is, he said, these 5 nurses, they all want to wave to you. I said, okay. Hello, girls, and they all waved and all that. I said, how you feeling, pal? He said, I'm all right. He said, I'll get there, I'll get there. Okay, go on again. I said, oh, there you go, again, we're okay. So, are you coming back? Oh, don't worry, mate, it's all right, don't worry about it, it's one of them things. And he sort of, on the Wednesday of that particular week, his son rang me up, Robert. He said, Tom, I've got some bad news, mate. I said, what is it? He said, don't think your dad's going to make it. I said, what? I said, Monday. I said, he was on FaceTime with me. He said, no, he said, he's not going to do it. I said, oh, man. So came the following sort of few days, I got the phone call, he passed away. I couldn't go and see him because of COVID rules, you couldn't go anywhere and you couldn't move. And I was in total shock, but the strangest thing of all was that I didn't cry. And I kept saying to myself, what's wrong with you? I think it was such a shock, right, that it took. We went to the church, me and my wife. It's gone again. Me and my wife went to the church, and it was there in the church when I saw the coffin. Oh, it's all right. It's gone again. Oh no, it's here. So I sort of I broke my heart crying as it came down the centre of the church, because I then looked at the coffin and thought, he's not coming back. That was the end. And it was, I couldn't control my crying at the church. My wife was with me and she put her arms around me to try to console me, and it didn't really work. And it was then, only then, I suddenly realised that he'd gone. He'd left. And I don't know where I were. And I remember doing the show for him in Blackpool at the Winter Gardens. It was sold out to the roof and everything. And a guy took a picture on a phone with me walking off stage, and in the shadow was Bobby walking. And I know, it was the most, and I've got that picture. I don't think I've got it on this clip, but I've got it somewhere on the clip that I normally show the people. It was a fantastic picture, and I don't know from this day to that day who actually took that picture, but it was an absolute amazing thing, absolutely amazing. So Bob and I, we carry on and we go to sort of our first panto, I think it was, bottom of the bill, and top of the bill is Cilla Black. Oh yeah, Cilla Black, and she's there with the fur coat down to the floor, and she's a lovely lass, and she's on the stage and she shouts, Bobby? And Bob looked at me, he said, she shouted. I said, no, it's her husband, you daft Bob. He said, so she said to Bob, she said, I've got no toilet. And all the cast knew there was a toilet backstage, but everybody used it. And Bobby said, there's a toilet backstage. She said, no, I want my own toilet. So they built a toilet for her, fair enough. Now, she's fighting the bad guy in the panto, the giant. Swords are going. Giant falls over, Cilla walks across, she put her foot on his chest, and she put a sword to his throat and she shouted, how shall I kill him, kids? And one of the kids from the audience shouted, "Sing to him, Scylla!" The best line I have ever heard. And you know, and then we go to the Bradford Alhambra as top of the bill for the first time. And, you know, don't you, darling? And we're top of the bill for the first time, so me and Bob say, tell you what we'll do, let's sit on the front row when the rehearsal is. And it'll frighten them, you know, because we're top of the bill, we can say what we want to say, you see. So we sat on the front row and all the girls come dancing on, kicking their legs and everything. And my wife, who is sat here in the audience this evening, was one of the dancers. And she came on, and I'm sat there with Bob, and I went like that. I went, oh, bloody hell. And he said, what's up with you? I said, I love her. He said, you love her? I said, yeah. I said, she's gorgeous. He said, well, your marriage is crap. I said, I know it is. He said, well, go for her. I said, what do you mean, go for her? He said, you know what I mean. So I started a little escapade. And things sort of, the press found out, and they're chasing us here, there, and everywhere, and they took a picture of me and Hazel coming out of a shop in Birmingham from the top of the Hilton Hotel, and saying Tommy Cannon coming out with his buxom brunette. And we've been married now, how many years? 30 years we've been married. But before that, we were 14 years dodging the press here, there and everywhere. I'll tell you this little story, okay? We had this flat in London, right? And she was so fed up with the press hounding us and being outside. We had a lady come and knock on the door, and she opened the letterbox and shouted, Tommy, I know you can't come out because of these bloody press people. She said, but if you want a pizza, shove it through the letterbox. So I ring a mate of mine up in Bournemouth. I said, Brian, I've got problems. I said, I need to get Hazel out. I said, it's crazy. So he said, right, I'll come down. He said, and what I'll do is, he said, I'll knock on the door 3 times, open the door and slam her into the car. I said, right, good. So she didn't realise that there were windows going down the stairs. So she's going down the stairs also, and she stopped. She thought, oh shit, they can see me, press, if I go past these windows. She lay down on her belly and slid down the stairs until she got to the bottom. And Brian knocked 3 times, opened the car door and slung her in the car. In the well of the car, she missed the bloody seat. Now you can imagine, she's all flustered and everything, so Brian says, you'll be alright now, Hazel. He said, look at these beautiful Christmas lights on Oxford Street. She said, bollocks to the Christmas lights, get me out of here. And that was, I mean, it calmed down after that because obviously the press got a bit fed up with chasing us around and all that. But and then Bob and I, we did our first royal engagement. Yes, it was a Duke of Edinburgh Awards evening, and it was at the Savoy Hotel in London. They sent a car for us. We're in tuxedos. We're as nervous as hell. Dickie boards on and everything. And the driver come. He said, "Are you ready, boys?" Yes. We got in the car, nervous as hell. And as he's passing the pub, we said, "Listen, stop at the next pub you come to, because Bob and I need a quick, calm ourselves down." He said, "Tom, I've stopped to let you out." He said, "But I can't stay here. I'll have to keep going round the block." Okay, no problem. So he goes. I said, "Well, only be 5 minutes." 40 minutes later, we come out and we're feeling quite cocky then. "All right, pal, come on, get us to the gig, come on." He said, he turned around and he said, "You know you are late." I said, "Late? What do you mean?" He said, "You're on the top table, there's 1,000 people sat below the top table, and it's already begun, and you're not there." Oh, bloody hell. Okay, so we go. We get there, we get out, we go through the revolving doors, and we have to pass 1,000 people. And they're all going knock on telly, knock on telly. And I up to the top table, I'm thinking, we're going like that, shut up, we're in trouble. He gets to the top table, sat down. When he sat down 2 minutes, Master of Ceremonies, red jacket, all the medals, comes marching over. Gentlemen, where have you been? I said, you know what it's like in London, the traffic. I said, don't worry, Duke of Edinburgh would still like to meet you. You're the only 2 people on the top table he's not met. I said, oh, thank you, that's nice. And he'd gone. 40 minutes passed. Bob and I had now 40 minutes more drinking. And he came back. He said, by the way, gentlemen, I forgot to mention this. Do you know how to meet and greet the Duke of Edinburgh? I said, not you. Is there a special way? Yes. If you've met him before, you can say, good evening, sir. If you've never met him, say, good evening, your majesty. Thank you. He went. He came back another half hour later, and now Bob and I are on cloud 7. He came back and said, gentlemen, the Duke of Edinburgh would now like to meet you. This is how we got up from the top table with 1,000 people watching us. Unbelievable. We got to the Duke of Edinburgh. I said, Your Majesty, Mr. Tommy Cannon. Pleased to meet you, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, Mr. Bobby Ball. Hello, cock, how are you? Hello, cock! Now, it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. About a month later, we're doing the Royal Command performance London Parade. We're in the lineup, and in them days the curtains used to come across the stage so the audience couldn't see the royal family. Why? I don't know. The royal family's coming up the line, we're all stood there, Tarby's there, and we're all a bit nervous and everything. She comes and stood in front of me and Bob and she said, well done boys, that was very good. She said, you're obviously from the north. We said, yes ma'am. And Duke of Edinburgh come up, he went, got all the bobs on, he said, all right cock. Could not write it. You couldn't write it, could you? I mean, he was always up for a joke, the Duke of Edinburgh, but it was like a month had gone by, so the baby, he remembered. I mean, I was in tears, me, laughing, I can't tell you, it was just the most incredible thing. And I mean, I suppose we've done, I don't know, we've done things that we never ever dreamed of. Bob did a lot of stuff. I mean, we went to Vegas. The only downside of Vegas was all those people that got killed while we were there. We were told by his brother said that he was a millionaire. He said, and I have no idea why he did what he did and killed all those people. And then what he did, apparently, he went into the hotel with a bag, and because he was a millionaire and he was a gambler, they don't check your bags, they just want your money. So they let him in and he went to the room, he locked the door, he put a camera on the door so he could see down the corridor, and he opened the window and started shooting. He was killing people. He was just dropping over. Do you remember? It's been on TV. Well, we were there, but we didn't know anything about it. And then, would you believe, he saw guys, police coming up the corridor, he shot himself. Millionaire, and you think, what bloody hell brought all that on? And the following morning, our company, our TV director came and said, yeah, I don't suppose you know what went on, lads. He said, but your family's been on the phone trying to see whether you're all right. And I said, what do you mean, all right? Of course. I said, what's gone on? He said, a lot of people have been killed. He said, it's bad. He said, now you either want to carry on with what you're doing or we'll cancel it. And we said, no, we'll cancel on because this man cannot get away with what he did, killing all those people. So we carried on with the TV show. I mean, it was an incredible and unbelievable thing that happened, you know. And I suppose, well, like I said, when you keep looking back on things that Bob and I did, you know, I remember, who was it? It was Lenny Henry. He did his first summer season with us, and he only had about a 5-minute act, but he had to go off and do a quick change and come back on stage. What we did was, me and Bob, we filled his dressing room with furniture. So he couldn't get in the dressing room for the curry change. If you'd have seen Lenny Henry's face, he came and he's shouting and screaming, I can't get over, can't get over, he had to go back on in the same outfit and do what he had to do. And when he came off, of course, because he was bottom of the bill, he didn't say anything to us. Because that was the record sort of selling out the summer season. So he actually didn't speak to us at all. Because I think if he had it on and said anything, Bob would have tried to cheat him. He'd never reached him, but he would have tried. Yeah, so, I mean, the things that has happened to Bob, I can't really think of anything else at this moment in time to, I mean, there's so much sometimes that I just get carried away with it, and I know he's looking down and I'm always saying, go to it, Tommy, let these people know, because I don't want to let the legacy of Cannonball just drift away.
Never.
And I will tell you, there is a, I don't know what you'd call it really, it's a, I can't really tell on camera. No, okay. It's something to do with TV, so I'll leave it at that. I can't honestly. I wish I could, but you'll see it when it. You know, shut up. You've been great.
I know.
No. I know you do. Don't tell anybody.
He's leaders of the world.
Give it a couple of months before you say anything. Yeah. So I'll tell you what. We've got some clips. Okay.
Oh, here we go. Hello, we're perfect. How are you?
The Greens are.
Funny the word,
They were so unbelievably funny. And you know, I look back on them and I think to myself, yeah, comedy's got to change or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, can anyone think, and I know what someone will say right away, but can anyone think today, where are the double acts?
Nowhere.
You know what? Who? No. What's wrong with that? No. Well, let me tell you about Hampton's Death. We love them to death. We did the jungle and they were the author. But the presenters, they're not comics. They don't do comedy. But they are presented and they're nice lads. But I'm talking about Eric and Ernie, Jimmy Jewell, Ben Morris. These were like the mega double acts.
More talent.
Yeah, but they've gone. They've gone. I don't know what they'll ever do. I'll tell you a true story. Head of ITV came into crew, and we were doing a panto there, me and Bob, and I said to her, I said, you do know, don't you, that you're missing a massive audience? She said, oh really? She said, how do you mean? I said, well, you think of 20 million viewers that Bob and I had. I said, there's got to be at least half of them still alive. I said, so it's 10 million there. She said, oh really? I don't think so, and she walked out. But it's just strange how television has really changed over the years. Not for the better.
Not for the better.
Not for the better, no, I agree. But I think, you know, whether it goes round the clock again, and we get some good double acts, I don't know. I mean, Little Lad were a good double act. I mean, you know, it's just... I put my pants. Anyway, are you ready to do this song with me with that bad microphone? So
God bless him, he's done his best.
I know he has. Listen, you've done your best, pal. Don't you worry about it.
Look at his little stressed face.
Yeah, don't be stressed out about it. It's fine. Don't be stressed out.
Don't worry about it, you just ruined everybody's night, but don't worry about it. No problem. It's okay, don't worry. Are you ready, Tom?
Let's try it.
Let's give it a go. Come on, everybody.
Come on, here we go. Laugh me a laugh, grin me a grin, and then I know that we can win. Dance me a dance, joke me a joke, and we'll cry away. You gotta play me a tune, sing me a song, and we can march right along, just you and me. Come on. So just sing along, and then we know we can't go wrong. Just you and me, come on and sing. Together we'll be okay. Together we'll be okay. Together we'll be okay. Together we'll be okay. Thank you. You've been fabulous. You've been great. I just got one more. One more thing to ask you. All sit down. Has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask you?
Look at that, Karen was straight up with her on there, right. Okay, what's your name?
Karen.
Still Karen. And Bob, what's your question? Keep it clean.
Why did you just fall out?
When did we fall out?
When did you fall out?
Oh, well, there were a few. Look, 59 years together, it's a marriage. You're not telling me that two guys who've been together 59 years don't fall out. Of course they bloody fall out. The main thing is we always made up and we're always pals. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that happened to us, which should never have happened, okay, suddenly out of the blue, the management, we'd done a bit of TV, and the management said, look, I think you need entourages, you know, to take you there and drop you off and put you into the hotel. I said, oh, okay, that's what you think should happen. And so we had 3 guys with me and 3 guys with Bob. We're now not picking one another up in the cars, so we're separate now. We go to the hotels, if you like. We didn't even know how to register into a hotel. We go there, they say, right, up to your rooms, boys, we'll bring the cases and we'll see you tomorrow. What the lads used to do then, at night time, they would go to the bar and they would, you won't believe what Tom's saying about Bob. The other way, and you won't believe what Bob's saying about Tom. And they kept mixing this stuff up. None of it were true. We didn't see one another to bloody start off with. So, one day we came down to the hotel and the lads weren't there. And I said to Bob, I said, what's the matter? What's wrong with us? What's going on, boys? Since we have these lads, it's all gone pear-shaped. He said, you're right. He said, I think it's them. He said, and so do I. He said, right, wait while they come down. He said, and I'll show you what we do. Sacked them with a lot of them. Yes! That changed how Bob and I behaved. You always have little fallouts, if you like. Bob would write something and I would say, oh, I don't like that, or what, you know, oh, don't you know. Anyway, leave it for now and then maybe I'll think of something to put in there. Oh yeah, you're right, I'll do the bloody writing. And, yeah, of course you fell out. Bloody hell, we're human beings. Yeah. I think people, the press wanted, tell you what happened with the press. We got headlines in the press, and this happened because I'd stopped smoking and Bob was still smoking. We used to share the same dressing room, and this particular day he come in and he was smoking his head off. We were early. The dressing room was full of smoke. So I said to Bob, I'm sorry mate, I said, you're tempting me to smoke again. I said, I've got to have a different room, mate. I said, smoking you want, pal. I go into a different dressing room. 2 days later, Cannon and Ball fall out. They do no longer share the same dressing room. Oh. I mean, what's all that about? I mean, that's bloody stupid. And the problem is, there are a lot of people in Dundee believe the press. Mm-hmm. They believed everything they wrote. They believed I was coming out of a shop with theirs. I had a big box and we bought a lovely horse ornament thing it was. Tommy Cannon coming out with reddies in a box. You can't get bloody reddies from a shop, can you? I suppose that's the downside of it, but basically 90% of the time Bob and I were best of buddies. I have to tell you. Any more questions?
Yes, any more questions? There we go, Mr. Wayne.
Oh yes.
Tommy, can I just first of all say thank you so much for coming to our humble abode.
You're welcome.
And thoroughly enjoyed everything. But apart from tonight, okay, What, in your opinion, is the greatest show you ever done?
Oh, I think one of the best things that we ever did was the Winter Gardens Blackpool, which holds 4,200 people, and we sold it out twice nightly for 27 weeks. And Eric Clapton, we know Eric, and Eric Clapton said to me and Bob, he'd done Sunday night there, and me and Bob went to see him. He said, hey, this is what happens when you're a star, boys. Bob said, sold out, one night. Yeah, I said, yeah, he said, me and Tommy did 27 weeks and sold it out every night. He said, bloody hell you didn't, did you? And he was really shocked at it, you know. And I suppose during our career, the capacity audiences that we had were, well, I can't count on my hands how many we had and how many places were sold out. It was just one of those magical moments up to the part of, yeah, of course we got a bit cooler, obviously, and didn't get the TV that we wanted to do. But basically, I was very happy with everything that we'd done until Bob passed away with COVID, and of course nobody knew that he had COPD, which was not a good thing. 30 odd years ago we were in Darlington Pantomime, and we ran off stage and he fell over, and I thought he was having a gag again. So I said, get up you daft bugger. And I looked at him and his eyes were closed. I thought, oh God. Called an ambulance, took him away. Panto was cancelled for a week. On the weekend that I went to pick him up, the surgeon stopped me. He said, Tommy, have you got a minute? I said, no, well, we're just up, pal. And he showed me this jar which was full of black mucus. And I said, what's that? He said, it's off Bobby's lungs. I said, you are kidding me. He said, no. He said, and be aware, he will get worse as time goes on. And they were right, because as time went on, yeah, he did get worse. And you know, sometimes I would be walking in the street with him and he'd say, Tom, slow down, slow down. Yeah, okay, I do walk a bit fast, but not to that extent. And so he was always, and the most frightening thing of all in his life would have been an oxygen bottle. He always said, I will never, ever have one of them. And, you know, I mean, he passed away, bless him, and I still love him to bits even now. So.
Okay, question over there. Beautiful lady. I'm all messy. And
Movie The Boys in Blue.
Boys in Blue, we should have done a sequel to that, which was supposedly Boys in Blue in New York. It never happened. But Boys in Blue, Eric Sykes worked on that movie with us, and the movie was 40-year-old about 3 months ago, and if Eric Sykes had been alive on that day, Eric would have been 100-year-old. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we had a great time doing that. We had a fabulous time, yeah. It was great. Any more?
Okay, questions? Oh, over there.
Back in the 80s.
For it had Dolly Dimple and Corky Clown in it, and I'm just wondering where you got
The inspiration for that.
Corky Clown. Yeah, my name is Corky Clown, and I'm Dolly Dimple. Right. Let me tell you, Sid Green, who used to write for Eric and Ernie, was at that time our writer. And I'm behind this wall rehearsing, and I'm Corky Clown. My name's Dolly Dimple. Doing all that. And I'm getting them wrong, I can't get it. And Sid Green, who wrote it, who was a bit of a boy, put his head over the wall like that, and he went, do you ever think you're going to get this right? And I have to tell you, I used the F word at him, threw the dolt up in the air and walked out. Right? And Bob couldn't believe it, because like, it was very early on in our television career. And Sid said, I better go and get him. Bob said, no, I won't go anywhere near him. No, let him calm down. Let him calm down. And I came back in, went behind the wall, didn't speak to Sid Green, and did it perfect. Right. So Sid Green came, he said, did you do that on purpose, walking out to show off? I said, why would I do that? I said, it were you, you dick.
Questions then?
Oh yeah.
Yes, go. Hold on.
Hi Tommy. Apart from the Duke of Edinburgh, or Cocker,
Yeah.
who's your most famous fan?
Well, I don't know. Who?
Someone who needs to most to you, like you're really impressed about, like being a fan of suspectful.
I mean, Eric Clapton was one of our biggest fans. He did the Royal Albert Hall with us, Prince Charles as he was then, charity night, and there was, I don't know how many acts were on the stage, but everybody just had literally 5 minutes. And Eric had said to us before he said, the only reason I'm here is because you two were on the show. I said, oh, that's nice of you, Eric. He said, I've done it 2 years previous. He said, I didn't want to do this one. So he said, I found out you were on, so he said, I wanted to do it. So we went on, did the 5 minutes, and he's waiting for us in our dressing room. Wow. What was that? I said, what do you mean, what was that? He said, you never got hold of his lapel so he could say, you've got me skinned. He never tried to headbutt you. He said, this is the 3rd time I've done this. He said, and I've done it through you two. He said, and tonight, he said, you were bloody crap. Right, he was that upset. But a couple of months later, we're doing a nightclub somewhere, and down the south of England it was, there's a knock on the door and it's Eric Clapton. He's brought us a jacket, which he's had autographed it on the back. It's a silk jacket, it's beautiful. And it says, rock on Tommy, Eric Clapton. And he gave us 2 fantastic fishing rods, because in them days Bob and I used to do a bit of fishing. And so he apologised, and I said, it's all right, Eric. After he'd gone, I said, what a pivot. I'm only kidding. Is that it?
Robbie Williams!
Oh, I have to tell you this one last story, okay? Robbie Williams, he's just done a bio, and I watched it, and I texted him, or my wife texted him and told him how brilliant it was. He said, said to hear that from a legend is fantastic. Thanks, Tommy. And I thought it was great. But Robbie, all the family were at our house and we're all singing angels with his hands in the air. I said to my wife, I said, listen, I said, text Robbie, tell him what we're doing. So she did do it, he texted back, he said, that's fantastic. So I'll tell you what, he said, I'm at the arena in Manchester, he said, in a couple of weeks, come down, bring all the family. We all go down and we're all sat there, and there's 20,000 people there, and it's a fantastic. Now he comes on, and the stage is that way. So he comes on, walks there, and he's look, I'm 150 feet away, and he's looked right at me, and he goes, and I turned to Hazel, I said, what? He wasn't saluting me.
Yes, he was.
Well, we didn't know that at the time. So, time goes on, it gets to the end of the show. He said, ladies and gentlemen, I've changed the show tonight a little bit. He said, because there's a legend in the audience. Now, I'm looking round for the bloody legend. Never in a million years did I think it were me. And so I'm looking round. And I'm like, what is Hazel's doing it? Who is it then? She said, I don't know, but he must be a big star. and then he walked away, and as he's walking back up to pick up, he went, ladies and gentlemen, the legend is Tommy Cannon. Yeah! But it didn't fit there, because then he started going, Tommy, 20,000 people were shouting me, I was hooked to tears. Honest to God. And the only regret he had was that he weren't with me, because he passed away. So I now go down to the VIP room to meet him. He stood there, and I didn't realise he was 6 foot tall. I thought he were only short half. He's 6 foot tall. He came up to me, put his arms around me. He said, Tommy, I love you, mate. I grew up with you. He said, yeah, you're a legend. And I have a picture of that with me in his arms on my wall, of what's in my block picture. And I'll never forget that as long as I live. Never forget. Right, everyone else has got a big picture. No more? Okay, you better watch it. Go. Okay.
Did you hear? I just asked you
Over the years, you've made a lot of fun out of them. But was there a favourite? Did you have a favourite?
Bobby had a favourite. It was rock and roll legend, Little Richard. The problem was when he came on the show, he sang a bloody ballad. And Bob went, hey, he's singing a ballad, he's not singing rock and roll. So yeah, I mean, Bobby loved him. I love ballad singers, and you know, I've always loved Frank Sinatra and people like that. Michael Bublé. We never got Bublé on the show, I don't know why. We had Frankie Lane, we had Guy Mitchell, we had loads of, Lulu, as you know. She was incredible. Yeah, so, yeah, I suppose that we had a great career, and like I say, I'm keeping the legacy going, so. Well done, thank you. I'd like to say to everybody, oh by the way, I've got a book coming out next year, and it's called Time Waits for No One. Yeah. So, if you listen to this song, you'll understand it. Thank you. That's life. That's what all the people say. Riding on in it, shut down in me. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top of June. That's life. Funny as it seems, some people get their kicks stomping on my dreams, but I won't let it get me down, 'cause this whole world keeps spinning round. I've been a puppet, a pirate, a poet, and baby a poet. I've been up and down and over and out, yeah, and I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. I blew myself up, yeah, a big ball, and
Mr. Tommy Cowan! Now, ladies and gentlemen, Tom, please have a little break for a minute. Now, what we're going to do for you, now, we've got some Tommy merchandise in there. Now, we've got some fun.